Okay, hello everyone who's joining us on Zoom or on Facebook, or anyone who is from the future looking at our YouTube channel with us on YouTube. So welcome to our garden gig. For anyone who doesn't know, it's part of a 4-day mini arts festival that we're producing, and we've got loads and loads of activities over the next 4 days, and this is the first event. So today we've got 8 amazing spoken word artists and musicians, including myself. We've got Keira, we've got Gabi Marcellus-Temple, we've got McGough Davey, Matt Thomas, Brian Herdman, and we've got a video clip of Clare Peartree, and also we have Oddstep Deployment Unit who will be headlining for us, and they do amazing electronic music from Plymouth. So the first thing I need to say is the trigger warning. So for anyone who has never attended a WonderZoo gig before, I always give a trigger warning and say that sometimes things can be said that may make you feel uncomfortable or emotional. And this is what art is about. Sometimes it can be a bit risque or confrontational even. So, you know, you just got to bear that in mind, that we don't tell people not to swear, because we believe that people should be able to say what they want as long as it's not discriminatory or hateful to other people. So WonderZoo, we produce a regular anthology. So we've produced 3 so far, and they're all on the WonderZoo.org website. Huh? 4, sorry. Sorry, 4. And if you haven't seen them yet, they're on the WonderZoo.org website. And the next one that's coming out is going to be on the 25th of May. So we're actually calling out for submissions for anyone who has got some written work, poetry, short stories, flash fiction, or photography, or drawings, paintings, any sort of art form that you can put into a 2D image or textual based sort of thing. Yeah, so for anyone out there who would like to submit, please do. You need to submit your piece to our email address, which is wonderzooarts@gmail.com. And yeah, we're very inclusive, and we'd love to see what you've got to offer and what you've got to share. So please don't hesitate to submit. We're very inclusive, and we'd love to see your work. The deadline is the 19th of May at midnight, and that gives us a bit of time to put the magazine together. Unfortunately, if you submit after that point, midnight on the 19th of May, your work won't get put into the anthology. So please be aware of that deadline. Yeah, we don't, even if you're one of our favorite poets, we still won't submit your work. So yeah, Brian might get away with it. Yeah. So I'm sure people are aware a little bit about our event. Our little event, mini festival that we're doing. It's called Lost Time, and there's a page on Facebook that you can have a look at, and it's got all the different events that we've got over the next 4 days. So I'll just quickly go through what's happening. So tomorrow morning at 11 a.m, Photo Now are going to be hosting a workshop to do with photography. That's going to be led by someone called Emma Winslet, who works for Photo Now, and she's going to set people a little photography project, get on with in the day, and then come back at 6 p.m. in the evening for another little group gathering on Zoom to show your work and talk about what you've done. So that's 2 different workshops online at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m, all about photography. Saturday, we've got local film group organisation Imperfect Cinema, and they're going to be doing 2 workshops as well, one at 11 a.m. and one at 7 p.m. So it's a similar idea, is that they're going to set people. Yeah, okay, yeah. So they're going to basically talk about film, set you a little task to go off and make your own film in the day, and then come back at 7 p.m. to show your work and have a look at everyone else's. And there's going to be about 13 student films going to be shown, short films, each being 3 minutes each, and that's going to be really fun to see. And then Sunday, we've got a writing workshop at 12 p.m. with WonderZoo. So that's for anyone who's interested in getting into writing, creative writing, poetry. If you want to sort of like get some tips or learn from other people or just chat about it, or, you know, that's there for you. And in the evening, we've got Plymouth's organisation called Soapbox Culture, and they do open mic gigs. They used to do it at the Bread and Roses, and they're going to be working with us to do an open mic gig at 7 p.m. on Sunday. So that's for anyone who really wants to perform. So if you haven't, if you'd like to perform, just get in touch with us and we can put you down, or just turn up on the evening and yeah, just see what happens. That's all I've got to say about events. So yeah, it's going to be a really great weekend of being artistic and doing artistic things with other people, seeing what other people are doing. It's going to be really interesting. And the point of all this is that eventually it's going to be going into another sort of live event where we're going to get someone to incorporate all the video clips, the photography, the spoken word, the writing that came from this mini festival into a big live performance with everything combined. So it's called VJing. Yeah, sounds a bit rude, but it's not. I don't know, for JJ, I don't know, like just go. Yeah, so yeah, so basically this mini festival is a pilot, and it's all going to go into a live event for the second pilot, and then eventually we're going to be creating a larger Plymouth-wide festival that's all based around storytelling, which is going to include all forms of storytelling such as music, song, spoken word, literature, comedy, talks, theatre, drama, improvisation, whatever you can think of that's got a word in it, basically. So yeah, that's what we're hoping to build to through this process. Anyway, that's enough intro. We've got our first artist today is Keira, all the way from her lovely, beautiful van in the countryside. Are you there, Keira?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
So good to see you. And
thank you. You too.
I'm going to hand over to you now, Keira.
Thank you. Hello. I have some poems for you. They are mostly of the most melancholic nature, so for that I apologise. But, you know, there might be a somewhat positive one at the end. Who knows? Anyway, this first poem was prompted by the subject of vivid dreams. Someone prompted me this, and this is what I came up with. Dreams? Haven't had one of those in a long while. Other than the tiny squared ones, packaged in a variety of colours for the variety of dreams, the ones we feed to cats so they approve of us. When I sleep, my subconscious lays bare, open as the abyss, dark and never-ending. But vivid landscapes I do not see. Concepts, characters, they do not appear. It was never my forte, being the dreamer. However, the dreams of detachment from the day, those are my cup of tea. I used to dream of direction, tangible love, of affection, dreams of homes, halls of people, and not feeling alone. But as everything does, my dreams decayed and became as decrepit as the days that come. Anyway, that's a really miserable poem to start off with, but I do, hopefully, they may get somewhat more positive. Anyway, I'll stop apologising for the misery nature. This poem was prompted by advice, people giving unsolicited advice. For some reason, I seem to attract advice. People like advising me on things. And so I wrote this poem on that. It's called Discreet Music. A lot of these poems are unnamed, but this one does have a name, which is Discreet Music. We are disgusting creatures with good intentions. Bitterness is half the cup, the other half hollow. A mindless feature of guilt and honest redemption. Sadness constantly on the cusp with nowhere to go. swallowed inside, only to come out when it's time to reside. That last hour before sleep takes our eyes, that is the time. Nobody's advice, just discreet music with the last form of you by my side. Thank you very much. Anyway, yes. This one is called Monday Morning, because everyone's very grumpy on a Monday morning, and if they're not, you're just strange. You have to be grumpy on Monday mornings, of course. Anyway. It never ceases. It never has, and it never will. Perpetual pilgrimage through another week, for what? I do not even know anymore. Perhaps I never did. Lied myself a point to exist. Tried to live a life, but instead just hid. It's a very short one, that one. But yes, it's very easy to become a recluse, especially in these strange times that we live in. Anyway, this poem is about love, because of course you're going to have some awful love poem in, some poetry night. Anyway, right, yes, here we go. It doesn't have a name, it's just called Poem. Just don't be nice to me, my tiny heart cannot take it. I'd rather you were mean, yet I would still crave it. You break me into tiny little pieces, shattered, leaking a facet of light on the floor. Draining. Glued back together in arms of a lover, one I cannot bear to be without. Shoddy craftsmanship left the glue unhinged, yet my knees are still weak whenever you're about. I sit and I wait. I live in the past, nostalgic junkie, desperate for a dose of you, begging it'll be my last. Lovely, great. Anyway, sorry, I'm not very good at talking in between these things, so I'm just going to read the poems. Anyway, this poem is about identity, and it doesn't have a name also, but yes, this is an essence of me trying to articulate who I am. Anyway, 99% and 1/4 of the time I am an alien. 3/4 of the time I am this confused human being. This human being entails a whole pack of beings, hence the confusion. Hamish is the little cynic old man. He grumbles and groans, holding the bitterness stored within him, drinking coffee behind a curtain, a window. He doesn't get out much. Seamus, now he is the depressive, a regular resident, always comes back, fueled by red wine. He is a melancholic alcoholic, if you know what I mean. Joan is strong, sensible, calm. We need more of Joan. Aldous is the structure and essentially supervisor of the pack. All decisions, reactions, processing go through Aldous. And boy, let me tell you, he is highly neurotic, obsessive, sensitive, and a recluse. Now, there was a tale of a past figure who, back in the day of disassociation, there was a lady called Kay, a thespian, a lesbian, confident, had ideas of being a writer, writing a play, directing and acting. I do not know where she went. Perhaps the alien holds Kay. The world is too confusing for Kay. Every person is a new language, every situation a new episode to understand without subtitles. I wish I was a dog. And really, it just would be a lot easier to be a dog, wouldn't it? Of course, if you had a good owner, you'd have to have a good owner. Otherwise, your life would be shit. You'd have to have a good owner. And it would be all right if you were a dog. Probably. Anyway, I'd hope. This is my last poem. I don't have any songs, I'm afraid, but I do have some poems. And this is the last poem. And this is, quite positive, I think. Hopefully you'll think so too. This poem is about about life after therapy and what it's like. And yes, it's about that basically. Anyway, yes. So, and the last poem actually, it was all about like different sides of your personality and assigning those sides into characters and then it becoming a bit easier to understand. Anyway, yes, so this poem is about life post-therapy. Anyway, right, yes, I'll shut up now. And again, it doesn't have a name. Classic. Okay, yes. My knee is not shaking subtly. The first voice is rather quiet, the second even more so. A peculiar silence for the evening. With the arrival of the day came a state of sanguineness, a jive in my stride with an essence of confidence, pride, a peculiar notion for the morning. Aha, I see it now, a pattern. Classic Seamus has sunken in. No stability for our Seamus. The fallen have fell and the abyss rising. Waiting, waiting, waiting. For the second voice to fight, to wade through the wonders of a madman. Only silence remains. The second voice never came. Untouched, everything remains. The abyss is only 6 miles deep, you know. Resilience remained. I see now why I don't see you. You are not needed for now. I miss you, and maybe we will meet again. Maybe not. It'll be nice to see you again. It'll be nice if I don't. But I thank you sincerely. Yes, that's a poem for therapists, because thank God for therapists. What would life be without a therapist? Terrible. Anyway, that's all I have for you, really, and thanks for having me, and yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Keira.
And thankfully, Sylvia, my dog, didn't whine through the whole thing, so that's also very, very good.
Oh, it was really cool. Thank you. Really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Love getting a little insight into your different internal characters that live within you. I can relate to that, which I'm sure a lot of people will.
It makes things a lot easier, I find.
Yeah.
Then, you know, if you're a bit of a twat, you can blame Hamish. Grumpy Hamish, fucking Hamish. Yeah, yes. Anyway, yes. Well, thank you very much. Yes. And I'm sorry I can't stay for very late this evening. I do have to get up at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, so I do apologise for that. But I will certainly be back and be attending another one. So.
It's just good to finally have you on WonderZoo, because I remember quite a long time ago, saw you in the old morgue restaurant upstairs.
Yes.
That was like over a year. I don't know,
that
2
must
years,
be like
2 years
2
ago.
years ago now.
Yeah.
Something, yes.
Yeah, about 2 years ago. So we finally got you on. So that's really cool.
Thank you. Well, you know, you can have me back if you'd like. And also thank you for the comments. Thank you very much, Caitlin and Zip. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay,
thanks, everyone.
Bye, Keira.
Thank you very much. Cheers. I'm going to turn my camera off.
Who said that? Jack Whitfield said, oh God, I've pressed the wrong button. Sorry. Sorry. No. Sorry. I don't know if you had that, Keira. Jack Whitfield says, woohoo, thank you. That was thoroughly excellent. Glad to catch it. Kevin Rowley says, well done, loved it. So it's really cool. Great.
Thank you very much.
Great opening act. And next up, we've got the beautiful, deep, insightful, intellectual, gorgeous man, Brian Herdman. So I'm going to hand the mic over to Brian.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, what can I say? The kind of stuff I write is What am I aiming for here? Am I aiming for anything here? If anything, it's a living thing. It's a terrible thing to lose. Did I take the pills? I don't remember. Was it within the set of all sets that are not members of themselves that he started to lose it? I mean, every so often he would just walk toward that gap in the wall, right there in the barn. It was the strangest thing, you know, the Russell Zermelo paradox. But please, don't stop thinking about tomorrow. You write poetry, Steve. It's a living thing. It's a terrible thing to lose. Poetry, Steve, using real words to the beat of the street. That's what you do, not that quasi-political blather from men who prefer ladies to women, who never read a word, who live in a world where Hemingway never wrote a word, a world without a vernacular, where the only music is millionaire rock, and the only the lyrical concerns of millionaires, and dessert is always pink blancmange, the indulgence, you know, that world, it makes you sick thinking about it. Try it out. Put ladies in any sentence you like. It'll creep you out. It's creepy, man. Ladies. Try it. The set of all sets that aren't members of themselves. It turns your head inside out. And if you don't know you're going or he's coming to see you, hello, mate. You'll be hot with that big coat on your back. But aren't you the gorgeous one with your big fur and all? Weird how dogs found me out, like I'd been hidden, like I'd been hiding all these years. Anyone else would have cried. I went, no, don't even start. I'm the evil one, me. But anyway, I've been in work today and it's been mega busy. How about you? Monday, I start back Monday, and all the while the sea sustains its rhythm, the oral slap and wash, and all the time we are here, and all the fathers risen from their graves, forgive them, they know not what they do, and so on and so forth, rising out of the deeper sea, hard plastic angels with fixed pouts, salt crusted green and red crystals, the water streaming down from them, sparkling in the sun. I hope they empty the bins before the weekend. Dog sniffing, reluctant to move. Yeah, no, one word from you, eh? He said. These are the symptoms of a hyperthyroid. I can do a blood test if you want. Wow. Hello, Amanda. Lovely to see you. Imagine that. A Barbie after all this time, strange times we live in. No, I'd love to. Really, that'd be great. See you then. A Barbie. Looking forward to it. Saturday it is then. We are here. We are here and looking out. It's beginning to stink. I hope they empty the bins before the weekend. That was the first one. This is called, for want of a title, this is called The Neuroticizing Mechanisms of Social Media. And it goes like this. The neuroticizing mechanisms of social media haunt the banal inferno sweeping through the corridors of communicative capitalism. It's the sound of commodities fucking that privatize your misery. Your common sense is exposed as ideological determinism. What has she taken? Heroin? Our Lady of Weathervanes, save us. 2 women, 1 man, a whippet and 2 Labradors, a load of sticks and balls in his mouth, joggers sweating, buds in their ears. Get to the side, you two, to his terriers, he says. Let the gentleman pass. The gentleman being me, what I've become, a cliche and a crombie in the mouth of a stranger, almost invisible. Wind moans through the rigging. A gull catches a thermal, soars and swoops over there. He is a pining. In my day, there was nothing to it. You can feel it. There's a cultural difference. They say it's good for you. They say it's really good for you, but cold, so cold. Tony Hancock, he says, funny. A nutcase, though. All these chaps, always on the edge. He killed himself. Manic depression, they said. So cold, so cold. Half the company were black men. They did a production of Carousel and cast a black man as Mr. Snow. Well, I never heard anything so ludicrous. And they say they can't swim. But to play means to play too. It's a cultural thing, you know, from the Greek. She doesn't always appreciate it. She wants to be big as well, but you reach a point where things begin before you've had even a sniff. Things begin to disintegrate. The sky cracks. A pale sun bleeds through the grey. And is that rain on your face or spray? Or is it time falling through? 75 years gone and 40. A lone herring gull surfs the swell, surfs and dips, soars suddenly to chase another out to sea, to return to surf and dip, the purity of instinct, surf white wings, dip, surf and dip, serendipity breaks the sound of commodities fucking. All desire is desire for the unattainable. Long years away from here, the pulsing fecundity of the organic, its jouissance spilt over the wounded body, the scorched topography of flesh, the cadaver crash of the physical, the spaces in between the not quite and the not yet, the ennui of the circle line, its entropic energy, its neurasthenia, cool, warm, like Valium entering the bloodstream. This is a poem. You can tell it rocks a little, and as a sometime, anytime, many time beats, sometimes not. This is a poem. You can tell it sometimes listens, sometimes lies. This is a poem. I just didn't fancy a walk through the industrial estate, so I turned back in on myself. This is a poem. What would you do? What could you do? What did you do? What you do? The hypnotic optic, the object of your hypnagogic scrutiny is a poem. This is a poem between Medusa, paranoia, peace, and Madonna. Those eyes, what? Them their eyes, the ones you don't see at first, those eyes. Oh, those weepers, jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those? Oh, those eyes. Yes, those eyes were all a fright, even if they didn't at first show it. Thank you. How am I doing for time? All right. All right. This is another one called whatever you want to call it. I write a lot of these things in my head when I'm out walking, and this is another occasion. Saw Spencer in the street on his bike. We got to talking, Spencer and me, about the way things are, the state of things, and as is the way of things between friends. We agreed to agree about most of it, how things have got to change, how we can't let these fuckers get away with it. My words, not his. Spencer's not so crude. Me, I'm the complete plain words, no artifice, you see. Tell it bald. That's a metaphor. Don't take offense. They creep up on you now and then, metaphors do. When you're not paying attention. Metaphors, I don't trust metaphors. It's words is all it is, all words. Anyway, Spencer, he said he's missing it, missing the crack, I guess, and written nothing for months. It'll come back, I said. It's how it goes. The house is smouldering, man, but you're still here. Pour fuel on the embers, take care. And he was gone, away to Saltram. And those few minutes, taking the air with a person, breathing, the sun beating down on us, words can't. Anyway, like I was telling you, it was the war. This is me now, talking to myself, picking up a thread. Not that war or the one before, an earlier war, some war, men died, flags were waved. They built the Martello Towers, defences, St. Christopher wading through the water, the voice on the radio droning on. It all feels a bit, it's like being back at school. They put you in your place, put you down, they hit you, teach you the reality. Fact is, Matt Hancock, he broke the law. They throw few enough crumbs as it is. You have to call them out on this. Handsome is as handsome does. Industrial units to let office space. Can you feel that? It might be that someone's about to come along and stop you right now, round this corner, ask you, what are you doing? Can you feel it? The fear, it grows through air like industrial plant, cylinders, shafts, machines knocking off the walls, echoes bouncing off the walls. Some decisions are definitive, irreversible. When we got there, the queue for the Burns unit stretched out the door around the front of the building. No one complained. People had all but given up and taken to smoking in line with the general mood. Some joker handed out leaflets offering access solutions, logistics, just what you need at times like this. No one was rushing to take up the offer. You might call that irony. Do you have interesting thoughts? What kind of interesting thoughts do you have? Explain yourself. Not so easy, is it? Explaining yourself. Or do you shape them after the event? During question time, perhaps, suitably briefed. Digging the dirt. Investigative journalism used to be a thing. Now it's a thing no more. All the dirt's dug, turned over, buried under the gladioli. It's no wonder nobody knows what's going on. Put a comma there after wonder. It'll make sense. Trust me, I'm still clinging to the wreckage. Can you feel it though? The air, spongy like gelatin, like nitrocellulose dissolved in nitroglycerin, mixed with wood pulp and saltpeter. Hard to breathe, hard to take in, hard to expel. You can taste it, but can't believe the evidence. Not even they'd stoop so low, would they? Explain all the disqualified fire insurance claims, though, wouldn't it? Why the trains don't run on time, all the gastrointestinal disorders, the disfigurements, the carcinomas, why the coffee tastes bad, the hours spent in A&E, psychiatrists in the casino, everyone rushed off their feet calling for more blood, more gas, more air, more money. We can fix this. Nobody believes we can fix this. The future is now. And it's gone. People beyond caring, left to die until there's nobody left to care or be cared for. And what are you going to do then, Mr. Big? Something else Spencer said. We've all got so much material now, stored up, waiting to get out. Can't wait to get back, speak it. Say it loud, shout it, convivial. That's Spence. Well, you never know. No one knows how things will turn out. Ta. And okay, so I'll finish with just this. It's a lyrical piece that was inspired. We'll say inspired. Now I'll say provoked by a memory of my youth. It's called In the Blink of an Eye. It was never my thing, but some of my mates liked to fight. So it came as no surprise when Teb, Aston, Dalton, Carolyn, Kelly, and me, 17 years old and drunk, making our way home along Princess Parkway, were jumped by another crowd who smelled blood and rushed us from behind. I swung around, no time for fear. All I saw was a battery torch in a hand held high that came crashing down on my skull, and I crumpled to ground. And that was it for me. And it was over in minutes. Aston kicked him away. Dalton took one of them through a privet hedge, left him whimpering in the garden. Carolyn and Kelly and Teb saw the others off. Aston pulled me up and we caught the bus home. I had to get away from there. And a few years later, I gave up booze for drugs. And not long after that, I quit drugs for booze again. I was married by then with a couple of kids. It was good. Then it was good no more. And the whole weight of stuff hung over me. We fell out, the wife and me, and fell 2,000 miles apart. She died. The kids grew up, had kids of their own, and weight of their own to bear. And my mates? Well, Kelly was a bully. He charged Anthony, the simpler of the simple brothers Malone, £2 for a ride home from work in the boot of his Cortina. And one time beat the shit out of him, repeatedly crashing his head against the concrete in the car park of the Portway Hotel. Possessed, sweating, heaving, eyes glassed, staring down, drool dripped into the punch-drunk face beneath him. He'd done time, made money and lost money, and died the other year of lung cancer. Aston was ostracized for a time. I never knew why. Maybe it was because of the sky blue drainpipe Levi's. The way he cackled when he told us the Swedish girl wanted him to piss on her. Maybe it was that, all too exotic for Catholic boys, just like those foreign films for the raincoats at the Cinephone on Market Street. Later, he married. Then, just 29, got himself killed when his car swerved and ran under a truck. Teb emigrated to Australia, a £10 pom, became a builder, sought me out one time when he came home to bury his dad. I didn't know him until he raised an arm in a gesture I recognized. He had his son with him, not like my sons who are older and at or about to be at university. You can tell where this is going, can't you? We got drunk. Didn't get on too good, said goodbye. Too many miles, too many years. And Dalton shoplifted to order, got me a copy of Finnegan's Wake I later sold and read on Shude Hill Market. He was asleep one night when fire swept through his house. Never woke up. Carolyn, last I heard, was keeping pigeons in Handforth. Pigeons. They're long gone. I'm still here, staring out the window, making my way to a place I'll never know. You look forward, then look back. try and make sense of it all. Road traffic accidents, house fires, shoplifting, pigeons, a young woman in a golden shower, water sports, young men fighting, how people come into lives and go, the things they do, the times they have, then have no more. Why that guy carried a torch, things I'll never know. It eats into me, the love of my children, their children, who wake, eyes shining and rush bright into day. The world I'll leave behind. In bed, I lie awake, listening to the hiss from the long night ahead. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Brian. That was really, really deep and enthralling. Thank you. And I just wanted to go through a few comments that people have left on the Facebook Live. Jazz Ann Thorne says, wow. Jack Whitfield, hooray. Sam Van Dant, lovely. Jack says, your sense of momentum never ceases to stop me in my tracks, Brian. I promise I'll get in touch about another song soon. Jack Whitfield says you'll get in touch about another song soon. And Peter Rowe says, brilliant silver-haired revolutionary. Hi, Peter Rowe. Giving him a religious experience through your words. Well, he's a herder of men. Herdman, it's sort of in the name, isn't it? So yeah, Jack Whitfield said he really liked the line, all the dirt's dug. And he says, I am indeed really feeling this. Someone wants to say something? Oh, Peter Rose says, big up the Northern Revolutionary Front.
He's a Manchester lad, isn't he?
Are you a Manchester lad? Yeah. So next up, we've got a video recording of an. Oh, Slane's going. Okay. Right. Right. Dyspraxic man puts whole of his body weight on a handmade table. He wanted to. So he's going to perform in the rain. So we're going to get the camera on him now. So this is Slane McGough Davey performing in the rain in the garden.
Oh, Leslie, hello dear, my lizard queen.
So it's
Lizard queen, my lizard queen. Hello, my dear. One day we will have that hotel together. I'm going to try and perform in a very confined space, which is now out here in the garden in the rain. So never performed in the rain. So if I ever needed an umbrella, I'll call upon you, the lizard queen. So right, so this is the first one. No, it's all right. I quite like the rain. So this is called This Is Not a Drill. Littles and tin pots and egg curtains and endless drilling, like an echo drilling in my head, drilling in my head, drilling in my head. That eco warrior queen gone mad every day, running on the spot, running on the spot, running on the spot, waving and waving and waving. Headphones on, Alanis Morissette. Is it a jagged little pill or head like a hole? The birds start to sing, but I can't make out their song because all I can hear is a drill in my head, a drill in my head, a drill, drill, drill in my head. The birds start to sing, but I can't make out their words, these birds, because there's a drill in my head. There's a drill in my head. She picks up 40 hanging baskets and baskets to pass the time. Endless twitching of curtains and watching neighbors. Finds on the spot, hysteria, isolation and lockdown. Like a Jack Nicklaus sketch. Typewriter at one hand, writing the words drill, 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 drill. Hey, she plays Ghost Town by the Specials over and over again, like a record spinning out of control. But hey, keep up the Dunkirk spirit. She's reading a book, something about lady, lover. Her pleasure noises wake up the street, the silent street at 3 a.m. It's an endless diet of sex, drilling and gardening. Fuck's sake, Chi, leave me fucking alone. Let me sleep for once. I think I'll put the kettle on for another cup of tea. Hey, it seems it keeps me sane as the lunatics have taken over the asylum. She makes me write this poem as spoken words of madness. I'm not sure this is real or dream or illusion. Either way, I better fulfill her fantasies again. I cook my egg or I'll cook my cock. I toast it from Brian Herdman's poem. Sick of it all, sick of it all, sick of it all. Do you want to say sick of it all? Blank faces stare, disposable teens zooming out for the debit cards. Tinder will have to wait. Sex on hold, social media whores, wank another day, fake news and pretend friends that never really existed. It's better to be alone than have a coffee with a friend. Social distancing is my new social new bitch. George Orwell on heat, Extinction Rebellion on pause. Brave New World, Confederate flags on high, but I do miss a perm in the imperfect fresh air. It smells like teen spirit. Another genocide maniac enforces lockdown, shoot to kill, but I grow another flower instead. The junkie screams, knocking on doors, looking for a fix, forgotten voices of liberty drowned out by fits of hysteria, waving gun magic, like the magicians of old. Everything is repackaged, recycled like a Star Wars pre-sequel. Nothing fucking original. I better tune out to the sounds of clapping for crippled NHS like we give a fuck. A third wave, disposable nation sinking like the Titanic. But everyone loves a sequel. Will Rose get to ride Jack's cock again? So that's that one. So this is another one, which I don't have a title, but I'm going to dedicate it to no one. There you go. I'll dedicate it to Gabi because basically she's a bitch and she will kill me later because that's what she does. Anyway, it's cool. Anyway, I'm going to just read it anyway. I'll dedicate it to Leslie, actually, because I love Leslie. I do love Gabi too, but yeah, I'm in trouble now. I want to be forgotten on a cold and sunny day with warm coffee and sugar that bites away the cold hand that feeds the hungry talk. And fear of everything, standing in a pan lane of broken dreams of shopping delights and garden knives to bite back a hard on a cock of delight. Screaming in 5 days of war, rooms on fire, heist and myth, the last broadcast standing alone. There goes the fear of laughter and that bitch of a woman shouting at me in the supermarket lane. Automatic fear of mask in one hand and you're vaccine free on the shopping lane of plastic oceans with no air to breathe. At the doors of reception in a tin drum, banging away with a tin drum, banging away with a tin drum, banging away the Dead Scrolls with Bible one hand, but I'd rather have the anarchist cookbook in the other hand any day. But I still bite down hard on your cock of delight, like a little harder to enjoy the pain. Pause to turn up the TV as you scream, as I bite just a little bit harder. Another lockdown, another ghost of yesterday's tears and yesterday's tears and yesterday's fears. We are ghosts in these times of need culture. We're lost in the last broadcast, whatever the weatherman says. That's that one. Yeah, somewhere on here, lost it. I actually do have my favorite one. Here it is. All right, this is a new one. If you're offended, I don't care. So it's love me tender and lay me down to sleep on your dinner plate, all pink and red, just like your cock. I only suck vegan cock, not meat wrapped in plastic. Right. My last one, I think. No, oh no, I've got two more and then I'll be done. And then I'll get out of your way. The punk poet will be done and finished. But to then, you'll just have to lump it. This is called 4 Years of Living Here. See, I'm quite known as a community leader, and I quite often have to do a lot of really good stuff about the street. So this is about the street I lived in, but the council will never publish this version of it. Adelaide Street is a playful place flanked by cobbled lanes of spaces between the history books of war and that baseball bat. Decimated whispers and gossip play calm away the cats and birds at play, flock together with stockings leaping high with another scream to break the never-ending silence and screams of "fuck you." It's an honor, it's a home zone of hoodies hyped up on penguins with no snow, hip-hop cars are whizzing by, the sweet smell of Mary Jane. Mothers watch children play, laughing, running, singing, swinging, sinning and swinging in play. Parents want to frizzle, no rest and play here. Sunsets gaze, reeling to find another blowjob job, another blowjob job, another fucking blowjob on my fucking gate. Can you just fucking pull up your stockings and stop doing that, please? Like a milkshake gone wrong in a fake world of lights and comets. I better put the toast on, but I forgot the butter. And the last one, because I was requested to do this, is I did this at an event recently, and I was told by someone that it was a bit naughty, so I was like, oh, I better do it tonight because Mike requested it. It's called Fuck Part 2. Fuck Part 2. I hear the Nazi bombers fuck. I hear the dive bombers fuck. I hear the sound of Mayflower fuck. I hear the bells fuck. I hear the past fuck. I hear the future fuck. I hear your cry fuck. I hear me cry fuck. I hear the insane fuck. I hear the dead fuck. I hear the TV fuck. I hear the Blade Cup fucking deep fuck. I hear the pain fuck. I hear the boy inside fuck. I hear the man inside. I hear the death bell ring. Fuck that. I hear the last laugh. Fuck that. I hear the last smile. Fuck. I hear the sounds of water. Fuck. I hear the last bites and last words. Fuck. I hear the last music. Fuck. I hear nothing. Fuck. I hear nothing. I hear nothing. I am just dead, 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 dead. Fuck, 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 fuck. I'm dead, 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 dead. Fucking dead. So fuck you, Mike, for making me read this poem.
Thanks, Lane. That was awesome. Oh. Sorry, everyone. I'm trying to readjust the camera.
Yeah, sure. Boom, 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 boom.
Okay, back on now. Really powerful words from McGough Davey there. Coming quite well known as a punk poet all around the world. People are getting to know who he is. He's done gigs online based in New York. And yeah, his notoriety is growing and spreading around the world, which is really good. Next up, we've got a recording from a Cheshire-based poet, Clare Peartree. Is that right? Yeah. She couldn't be with us today, but we've got a really lovely recording of hers that we're going to play now.
Just saying to Brian G, Claire and I were at university in Manchester.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Clare Peartree and Gabi went to uni in Manchester. So I actually lived in Manchester as well for 2.5 years. So yeah, we all love Manchester, I think. Yeah.
It's raining as well.
It's just like in Manchester. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, video's coming up now.
The Tale of Ceridwen and Gwion Bach. I have tonight a tale to tell of a mother's love and a magic spell. In the land of Wales this story is set after the time Arthur's knights had met. We open the tale at Bala Lake, where Ceridwen brews the liquor to make her son of Vagthy a seer, you see, for awfully ugly and grumpy was he. Unlike his sister, who was the fairest maiden in all the land. So, Ceridwen leaves to get herbs, roots and sticks in darkness at the time when the planets were fixed. She searched high and low, and she did her duty to create the potion that would save her son's booty. The cauldron would need a year and a day. Fire must be kindled, and suffice it to say, she'd need a stirrer to tend to the pot, which would issue of Vagthy his magical lot. You keeping up? It's all very exciting, isn't it? Morda the blind man was tasked with the flames to keep the pot boiling throughout night and day. Gwion Bach, son of Gwerang, had the critical task of stirring the cauldron. Not a difficult task. But at the end of the year, 3 drops of the brew out from the cauldron to Gwion's finger they flew, and into his mouth that finger was placed to extinguish the pain that showed on his face. Not sure that was the plan though, was it? And all of the magic leaked out from those drops as Gwion and Morda heard the rumbling and pops. The cauldron burst open, Gwion let out a scream. Now he was a seer and could see the unseen. In his mind's eye he witnessed, as if in a dream, Garin his herd poisoned as they drank from the stream. He heard Ceridwen's outcry as she discovered her loss, and Morda's deep wailing. The goddess was quite cross. I think he's in trouble now. Not only had the potion granted him the gift of sight, in the form of a hare Gwion Bach to take flight, but his mistress, swiftly chasing and nigh without a sound, took the form of a greyhound and turned him right around. He turned towards the river and he changed into a fish, but the crafty Ceridwen turned into an otter bitch. Trying to outwit her as a bird he took to the air, but she, as a hawk, gave him no respite there. And as she swooped upon him, Gwyn's heart was in his mouth, and he espied some farmland just over to the south. Morphing into some wheat as he fell to the barn floor, in a heap of grain hidden, he'd outwitted her for sure. But Ceridwen was oh, so more sly than he. Shifted into the shape of a black hen, did she? She gobbled him up, and in her belly he lay, until she bore him in April, on the 29th day. And though she was still fuming at what had gone down, the child was so striking, a beauty of renown. So Ceridwen, not able to murder the babe, threw him into the sea in a bag made of suede. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the tale of Ceridwen and Gwion Bach.
Thank you so much, Claire. Even though you can't be with us, you're with us in spirit. And thank you so much for sharing your beautiful words. And loved your photos, and also Gabi's image is really cool. Love all the black and white drawings of Gabi's. Very iconic and beautiful, and yeah. Okay, so we've now got a 10-minute break, and the time now is 8:33, so we'll see you at about 8:45. So see you all in about 10 minutes. Bye. Hi everyone, the 10-minute break is over. Hope you've had a nice cup of tea or drink or whatever you're drinking. So up next is the beautiful, wonderful Gabi Marcellus-Temple, and she's got my arm. Yeah. So I don't know if you heard me just then, but I was just saying, yeah, break's come to an end. So our next artist that we've got up is Gabi Marcellus-Temple, and she's going to be doing some poetry. And is she going to be doing some storytelling? Okay. Okay, Gabi's doing some storytelling, and it kind of links in with Claire's stuff. Is that right? Okay. What's up? Okay. So I'll pass the mic over to Gabi now.
Yeah, I was fishing about in my work earlier when I was making the video of mine and Claire's work, and I found something I did a few years ago when I did a project rewriting fairy stories as if they'd actually happened to me and kind of interweaving them with my life. So this one's called Ben Nevis. It should have a Scottish accent in it, but I'm not going to try. When I was a kid, I lived up in Scotland with my grandparents for about 18 months. My gran realised at this point that there was no playgroup in the village, miles from anywhere in Inverness-shire. So at least I had a few friends. Sometimes I go to this one friend's in the afternoons. Jake lived up at the other end of the village with his mum. It was years before I found out where his dad was. I remember getting in massive trouble once because she sent us out into the croft and told us not to go in the burn. Fair enough, I thought. If I see anything that looks like it might be called that, I'll avoid it. Fresh from England. Of course, when Jake suggested paddling in the stream which ran across the land, it seemed a fabulous idea. But that urge never leaves us. Even adults, when we're told not to do something or know perfectly well that we shouldn't, we do it anyway. Sometimes being told not to is just like a red rag to a bull. Sometimes knowing you shouldn't is all part of the thrill. And superstition, well, it's just that in this great scientific age. Silly habits and beliefs. Somehow, though, Scottish fairies always seemed more than a superstition to me. Not English ones, I knew about them. Pretty little creatures who lived on hatpins in a Yorkshire village. Not the same at all as these fierce characters who seem to like nothing better than messing with people. In the Highlands, of course, part of the charm is the credulous locals still believing in that sort of thing. The Scottish are famously superstitious, and everyone we knew with a croft always left part of it untended. When I asked my grandfather why, he grumbled and snorted and muttered and wandered off. But it was my gran who was Scottish, so maybe I should have asked her. Apart from black cats, not walking under ladders, not crossing your cutlery, and all kinds of strange incantations to magpies, everyone with a croft left a small part of it untended for the fairies. Our village seemed more stuck on this than most. Whenever I asked about it, the adult in question would give me a dark look and change the subject. Even my staunchly Bristolian grandfather. Years later, when my grandfather died and my grandmother became fairly ill and infirm, we spent a lot of time travelling back and forth to the west coast of Scotland. I thought it'd be fun to meet up with Jake again, so I ferreted out his number and we met up for a drink in McTavish's discotheque. Seriously, there actually was a place called McTavish's discotheque in Lochaber in those days. Despite not having seen each other since the age of 3, we got on surprisingly well. Jake had turned into a tall, handsome man who worked for the Forestry Commission and spent his spare time training for mountain rescue. When McTavish's closed, we wandered down to the loch to carry on chatting, and Jake mentioned his dad. "Oh," I said, "I didn't realise your dad still lived with you and your mum." Jake gave me a sideways glance. I knew that glance, the "you're a bit English" glance. "What?" I said. "Have I said the wrong thing?" "No," he replied slowly. "It's just a bit of an odd story. I'm not sure you believe me, being a Sassenach and all." I poked him hard in the ribs for that one. "Try me," I encouraged. "I might not be as Sassenach as you think." So he told me. and it was the strangest tale I'd ever heard. Years back, when he was little, Jake's dad had been short of money. That spare bit of croft bothered him more and more. It just seemed to make no sense, and I guess I can see why. Like most people in that area, crofting had become a part-time activity, and he had a job in the local supermarket as well. One day, he finally got sick of it and turfed up the end of the croft. There just seemed no point when he so badly needed the money the extra crops would bring in. His first harvest came in and the family were a little better off at last. Jake said he couldn't remember what happened next, just that he woke up one morning and his dad was gone. His mum wouldn't talk about it for years, 14 years, in fact. Jake just assumed he'd run off with some woman. But he heard the odd, strange whisper in the village, whispers of his father being taken somewhere. He went through a long phase of watching alien films, getting into all the conspiracies, until one day, his mum took him to one side and told him the truth. I still can't believe what he told me that night. He turned to me in the dark. The fairies took him. They took him up the Wicked Mountain. In Fort William and the Nevis Range, there's only one Wicked Mountain, Ben Nevis. It glowers over the town, immense, dark, and swathed in its own mysterious weather system. Up Ben Nevis, I replied. But where up Ben Nevis? For 14 years? Surely someone would have seen him. In a quiet voice, Jake told me that in all the old tales, they spoke of a fairy quarry at the top of the mountain. Anyone who crossed them was taken prisoner and forced to work in their quarry, cutting stones for their palaces, until their firstborn came to face a trial and get them back. No one ever saw the place, not even the thousands of tourists who set themselves the challenge of climbing the mountain, and at least one of them always died up there. I remember one February when an ill-prepared climber fell and died, and the mountain rescue team couldn't safely go up to recover the body till June. All spring, the mountain lowered over the town with its corpse burden. So when the day came, Jake's mum offers him this bannock broken in two. You can have the smaller half with my blessing, she tells me, he said, or the larger half with my curse. Some weird superstition again, but I was beginning to see why she made so much fuss about it. You believed her then? I asked. Not entirely at that point. To be honest, I thought maybe she was losing it and me taking a jaunt up the mountain might help her achieve some kind of closure. So off he went, up the mountain, arriving at the top just as it got dark. Right at the summit, there was a thin old man standing there. He was emaciated and dressed in rags. There was no way he could even have climbed the mountain. Jake, he croaked. Is it you, son? Jake nodded. He told me he couldn't even bring himself to speak. The old man tottered over, his scrawny frame buffeted by the wind. A bony claw shot out and grabbed Jake's arm. Don't let go of me, son, he urged. Whatever happens, no matter what, don't let me go, or I'll be here another 14 years. Jake spent that night on top of the mountain, clutching on to the father he'd never known. He could only think he was hallucinating, as his father changed from one thing to another in his arms. A slimy toad, a red-hot iron bar, water. When the dawn came, he was alone with the emaciated man on top of the ben. He helped his father down the winding path to the shore of the loch, then took him home.
Thank you, Gabi. I'm going to just put this. Wait, let's see if this is working. So, right, I don't know if you see me. Yeah, so we've got a couple of more people, including, well, it's basically me and Matt now. Who wants to go first? Do you want to go next? Okay, I'll let Matt go next then. Yeah, I'm going to sort out the light for Matt. I think, yeah, if I sit there, you can see Matt. Yeah.
Can we see him?
Yeah. We go. So this is Matt Thomas, artist and writer, and also creator with his partner Nick of the Royal Adelaide Art and Yoga Space, and that's on Adelaide Street.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. On the subject of Nick, I thought that on her behalf, I was going to have to represent for Leeds, but Gabi has solved that problem for me. Gabi will take on the role of the White Rose, which is good. It's been said that my observations are laconic. My delivery is as well, and so I like these gigs where we get to sit down. If I slump over, anybody who's here in company with me, just give me a kick or a nudge. Here's I have a few things. It's all new. It's all newish, which is amazing. I don't know how that works, but there it is. Here are a few thoughts that just got strung together. Now I'm social distancing. Now I'm binge watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I had a phase of lying on the floor staring at the ceiling because it's a different perspective. In April, it was the cherry blossoms. Now it's nearly July. The tree is heavy with cherries. I read an article about the Trump rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the one that only 6,000 people attended. In the article, a woman, a Trump supporter, said she doesn't want new normal. She wants the old normal back. Now I'm reassessing my priorities again. Now I'm trying to figure out which Deep Space Nine character I most relate to. Now I'm reading the daily infection tally. Now I'm turning the computer on and off and on again because each day is a bright new day. Now I'm telling myself each day is a bright new day. Now I'm making a list. Now I'm adding make a to-do list to the list. Now I'm not going to another Zoom meeting. Now, yeah, little did I know. Now I'm standing in a queue at the corner shop, which seems not normal, new, old, or otherwise. I'd rather not look back, but what else is there to do? Now I'm eating cold frankfurters straight out of the package. Now I'm planning to go outside for a nice long walk, but I planned that for yesterday too. So now I'm going to start to figure things out tomorrow. Put that on the list. Now I'm learning about all the things I can and cannot be bothered to do, or in other words, what's really important. Now I'm listening to a neighbor say, not being racist, but, and then he tells me how the Poles, Balkan people, are buying up all the houses in the neighborhood, moving all their own people in, and then throwing all their rubbish in the back lanes and filling up the back lanes with broken furniture. Now I'm shuffling uncomfortably and scrutinizing the bottom of my shopping bag while someone else tries to shift the discussion onto a different topic so I don't clock the guy or tell him off. Now I'm looking up the Balkans and the Baltic because honestly, I get them confused and I always forget Estonia. And Poland is neither Balkan nor Baltic. But let's face it, this minor point about geography isn't really the issue, is it? Oh, it's one of my favorite phrases, It's one of my favorite phrases. Immigrants this, immigrants that. Oh, but not you. They then say when I open my mouth. The grass dies slowly in patches in July in spite of the sprinklers. Everyone says brown lawns, but they're not brown. Everyone's lawns, they're bleached, almost white, almost without color, like straw. I guess they are straw, really. And mowing them makes dust that sticks to the sweat on your arms while you push the mower and itches later while you ride your bike to nowhere. And the sky is bleached and the asphalt is soft and the tar that fills the gaps between sections of road oozes out and sticks to the soles of your shoes, and the summer smells like forever. Meanwhile, furious teenagers write furiously about fury and accidental World War III and on purpose World War III and not getting laid. Meanwhile, a group of people is figuring out how to embed an array of computers, thousands of computers, a square kilometer of computers in ice in Antarctica, and then use those computers to try and detect particles that are so small, they're passing through the space between your cells right now. Particles so small, they can pass through the planet and bleached lawns and sneakers and oozing tar and furious teenagers and skyscrapers and politicians and cocktail bars and tugboats without touching anything. Particles so shy, they can only be seen when they bump into something else, which they hardly ever do. And it's hoped or thought that the ice will slow them down enough to make the job a little bit easier. Now, did we do this in November? When did we do this last? September. We did it in September. I read a piece, Hannah Linden. Hannah, I don't know if you're there, if you're here with us tonight, but Hannah Linden was watching that night. Pardon me. And I read this piece and she liked it and asked to see some more of my work. So I sent her this huge file full of things that were not this piece. And this was really the one that she wanted. So if she's there and listening, pardon me, I discovered I wanted to rework it a little bit. And all that really happened is I discovered that if I ditched about half of it, it made a lot more sense. So I've done that now. So I'm going to read it again. And actually after this, probably not tonight, I will type it up and send it along, Hannah, if you're there. And if you're not there, this is probably being recorded. So there's documentation.
Send it to Hannah on YouTube.
Excellent. Well, see? There's still a dead fly on the windowsill. It's dead fly season. It's hat and scarf season. It's wet leaves everywhere, and the pavement never dries completely, and the washing never dries completely, and the dark shines season. In the dark, there are things to listen for. The stars in Orion changing color, one goose, then many geese, a tractor grinding its way along the lane, a car following the tractor, another car shifting down, getting ready for the long pull up pin to hill and the hairpin at the top. The sound of the inside of my head. Thinking about what I think about, I realize I worry about everything. I worry about worrying. Sitting in the dark, listening to the Kinks sing about the intersection of sadness and hope in headphones and a hat, while you upstairs breathe heavily and twitch, weighed down by quilts and blankets and sleep. There are holes in all my socks, which isn't a complaint or an appeal for sympathy. It's just an observation. It's a thing to put on the list of things to do. And there's a theme for you, lists. Buy more socks. Shopping for socks is a pain in the ass. They're too expensive or too cheap, too cottony or not cottony enough, or impregnated with antifungal Agent Orange for your feet that does God knows what to your skin and your brain over time, or boring or pink or stupid or perfect except for the angry birds embroidered on them. I know all this because I shopped for socks for you, because that's what you said you wanted, and it's an impossible task, or you are. Here's a question. Does a moth know that it was a caterpillar before it was a moth? What does it feel like to exist, then not exist, then exist again? Here's another question. How many times in the last 8 years have you looked at me when I wasn't paying attention? I don't want to know the answer. I don't want you to tell me. I'm just curious. I like the idea that it happens because I look at you like that all the time, and it's like having a secret. It's like having a key to a door in the universe that no one else knows about. Thank you. let's. Thank you. Okay, here's a brand new one. Which little things? Dry roasted peanuts, the smell of warm, wet asphalt, the knowledge that such a smell has a name, petrichor, the information that such a smell has something to do with wine, the feeling that the friend who knows the word for warm, wet asphalt and knows about wine and knows how they're connected might possess magical powers, even if they're modest magical powers. The delight in imagining the even modest magical powers of friends and the comfort in that delight. Bags of dry roasted peanuts. The ability to fast forward through the ads. The ability to not employ the fast forward, to let the ads play and ignore them, to disregard the possibility that sometime in the future, a craving for dry roasted peanuts or the desire for a new sofa or the interest in a holiday in Croatia might be directly attributable to subliminal suggestion that was planted by the not fast forwarded through ads, because we are immune to such trickery. Music from a nearby century, close enough to be recognizable, but far enough away to seem exotic. A view of time that's alive, human. A view of time that seems measurable. The warning sticker on the back of the driver's side sun visor of the shiny gray car parked in front of the house that reads, when viewed upside down and in reverse, Gabria, which is the name of a monster from a Godzilla movie, or should be. The idea that knowing about Godzilla movies is a thing people have in common, like being able to drive a car or being left-handed or liking dry roasted peanuts. Late in a nearby century, when Godzilla movies were already artifacts, they would play on television on Saturday afternoons in the summer, which is also often when brief rain showers would leave the street hot, wet, and steaming, and the air redolent with the scent of petrichor, and we would drink it in as we rode our bikes to the mall, even though we didn't know what to call it, and time seemed like someone else's problem. The attempt to live in a moment, but also to recognize it, or possess it, or connect it to other moments and then turn them into something else. Which little things? Each of them, all of them. Thank you. That's what I got.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Shall I introduce you, shall I? Yeah.
And petrichor. Do you know petrichor was identified? If you don't know, if everyone knows, then I can shut up. It was identified in 1964, and the guy who.
Right, let me introduce you. I've got to go on camera first.
It's the smell of wet earth.
Oh, I know. I didn't know it was that recent though, because I was always so happy that it was.
Absolutely, it's put together word. It's a portmanteau of Greek origin. Petri is stone.
I've got to introduce it now. All right.
Which I thought was so cool. Yeah. And apparently there's an enzyme or something in soil that is aerosolized when raindrops hit it. And we can smell it, and you're tuned to be able to smell. The human nose can identify 5 parts per trillion of this enzyme that's in aerosolized raindrops with dirt in. it's like so awesome.
Well, that was Matt Thomas here. Let's give him another round of applause. Fantastic. So our next artist tonight is the legendary Queen Chi from the universe of Queens. And so she's going to do a few poems. I got that right. You're not doing stories. I didn't get that wrong. Poems. So the one and only legendary Queen Chi.
Thank you. This is a poem called In the Land of the Stupid. I'm stuck in the 21st century, a century of stupidity, a continuation of centuries of stupidity, cloaked in the disguise of progress. Everyone is being lied to constantly for the purpose of profits. Truth is withheld, fears are placated, anger is subdued, concern is denied, knowledge is undermined. People walk around with minds full of confusion, never knowing what to think, what to say, what to do, because they're told they're not an expert, so their opinion isn't worth anything. The average person is reduced to a cog that rotates round and round, doing the same menial task over and over, turning the gears for other cogs above them in a hierarchy of cogs, so the 1% of top cogs can take all the rewards and live in the lap of luxury and ease, amassing more and more numbers on a screen, while the majority struggle daily. Humans are consumers in a well-oiled capitalist machine, oiled by the blood of slaves in places we'll never see. Our vision is filled by thoughts that don't matter and averted from things that do. We spend our lives trying to get by, keep our heads above water, in a never-ending carousel of repetition, until we finally say our last goodbyes. Plastic wrapped in plastic, we unquestionably buy more and more and make ourselves feel better by recycling, justifying our greed and lack of care with our green bins. Animals killed for our 10 minutes of pleasure, torture on a plate, slathered in corporate apathy. Masters of psychology play us like puppets and find never new and inventive ways to convince us to buy their products. I'm an addict, you're an addict. Our food is genetically modified, our water is contaminated, our babies are fed a toxic soup, microplastics are found in human placentas, and whales die with bellies full of fishing gear. That's it. This one's called binging. I want to feel indulged. I want to feel full of numbness. I want to feel loved. I want to feel the fullness of my belly. I want to feel the fullness of my soul. I want every flavor to feel like rapture and make me feel closer to peace. I want every texture to bring me the most sublime pleasure and make my existence worthwhile in this lonely moment. In my all-pervasive, muted sadness, let this sweet, delicious hit sink into my bones and bring a lasting anesthesia to my rotting, brittle pain as I face this slow death. I sink my teeth into another attempt at forgetting my worries. Warm, edible comfort, closer to oblivion, so real within my flimsy reality. I consume your promise of satisfaction. I consume you till I'm painfully engorged and bloated. Just one more morsel to drive away the dark night. A never-ending need to fill that gap in emotion. Sought but never found. No safe bosom of mother's love. No strong anchor of father's guidance. A shore I never reached. I float adrift all alone and addict myself to the soothing balm of gluttony. Thank you. This one's called All is Divine. All is divine, all is divine, you are divine, I am divine, all is divine, all is divine. I'm not here to be perfect, I'm here to be human. I'm here to know what it's like to make a mistake, what it's like to be humbled by my errors. I'm here to understand my own gaping voids of missing information, my gaping voids of emotion, the fragmented and shattered parts of my psyche. I don't want to lie to you and say I'm someone I'm not. I'm here to reveal the truth, as though all my walls had been obliterated and I stand naked before you with neither guile nor conceit, no contrivance, just my soul being seen by yours. I would give up all my pride if I could only live a life of truth. I would give up all my riches in exchange for an authentic personality, for the gift of no longer lying to myself and being able to pierce through the heart of truth with my mind's astute discernment, as though my whole life was the holy vision of God. I wish I could remember that I'm the dreamer of the dream and the dream of the dreamer. I could then melt away from all that rips me apart and tears me to shreds. I'm afraid that I'm not even alive. I'm afraid of being alive. I'm afraid of being dead. I'm afraid of being nothing. I'm afraid of being something. Surrender, surrender, surrender. You're going to be okay. Everything's perfect. All is well. You are held and you are loved. Thank you. This one's called Things That Piss Me Off. It's quite a short one, actually. The insanity of the modern world, the stupidity and non-thinkingness of everything we do, herd mentality, the grotesque architecture, the hell on earth we've created, the horror of technology, the insanity of the individual, plastic packaging, toxic chemicals, the meat, dairy, fish, egg industries, rainforest destruction. How do we transform our feelings of despair into feelings of wonder? How do we switch off the pain? How do we escape? How do we find a portal to disappear into another reality? Is laughter the cure? Is consciousness the solution? Do we have the freedom to decide our present moment? Was it always meant to be this way? Thank you. And this is my final poem called For All the Beautiful Souls. A bit more cheerful. Beautiful souls who are beautiful to the core fill me with hope, happiness, and inspiration. They are like ghosts, seen for a moment and then they vanish. The butterfly woman came to this earth to metamorphose, to change her life and create something new. The holographic fairy came to this world like a dream within a dream. She is a walking work of art, a living poem, a conscious spirit, a self-aware human being. Life is so uncanny, so enigmatic, so funny, so full of wonder and love, to be found in the hearts of others. Sublime soul beauty makes my life more fascinating. In a land of zombies roaming the streets, they look human, but something's died inside. But something in you is alive and living. Something in you is dreaming. Something in you is fighting. Something in you is questioning. Something in you is yearning. Something in you is learning. And that's it. Thanks, everyone. And yeah, now we've got Oddstep Deployment Unit as our headliners. So I'd just like to say hello to Sean and Lucy Daffin, if you're there.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Yes. Yes. No, is that right? Can you see our screen?
Yes, we can.
Amazing.
By the archaeologists, first decayed and new ones were made. Thought was left to decompose and transforming from a recognizable individual into
There we go. We're done.
Yeah, thank you everyone for being here. It's been a lovely night sharing it all with you. It's great to be sort of like doing a live gig, partly online, partly live with real human beings. Caitlin has mentioned that she wanted to talk a little bit about the festival. So before we go, Caitlin, would you like to say a few words about that?
Good evening.
Hello.
I've had a really great evening. It's been so lovely to see everyone's faces and also to see all the artists and things. I just wanted to quickly just mention, so with the Lost Time mini festival and how that would develop, there's a survey that I've made for my research for this project, and it would be really, really great if you could take some time out and do the survey for me, please, and because that could really contribute to a lot more things like this. So that'd be really great. I'll drop the link into the chat, and I'll also put it on Facebook as well, just in case. But yeah, thank you all. And
thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Hopefully people can come along to Photo Now, Imperfect Cinema, Soapbox Culture, over the next few days, the different events on. You know, this is like unfortunately 4 days online, but you know, the future festival is to be a live festival across the city. It doesn't mean we wouldn't have a digital side to it where it wouldn't be beamed live on Facebook for other people to see. We would definitely think that's the future, but we definitely want to get back out there with live audiences. And so what we learned from this and the August event is that we wouldn't put a festival on till we got a proper live audiences again, and it would be citywide. And what we're doing here is just testing waters, testing ideas, working with different groups, seeing how we get on, seeing, you know, putting those components together really. So this is a completely different idea for the idea of literature. It's not sort of, you know, Cambridge literature with a bit of Shakespeare. This is like basically anything goes as long as it's got kind of word in it. Yeah, it's that, but everything else, and it's stuff that's just different, you know, and we want to be different. That's what WonderZoo's about. So hopefully people will come to the next few days, and hopefully this will progress eventually to a citywide festival over the next couple of years. So thank you to everybody that's come tonight. Been wonderful. Thank you all. And I don't know what else to say now. You know where you're ending. I'm like, oh, I don't know what else to say. That's where I'm at. Apart from thank you all for coming. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Really great performances, really great artists, a lot of diverse audience. Yeah, Matt, you say something.
It's like having a key to a door in the universe that no one else knows about.
Right, I'll ask Mike one word. You said, oh God. Gabby said a rude word.
Good night.
Yeah, good night. God bless, whatever that is. And see you soon. Bye.